What is going on, OGs and converts? This is the Convo post-game styles after Game 3, Bolts and Leafs for April 22nd, 2023. What a night. The Leafs have no business beating the Bolts on this evening, but they do. 4-3 in overtime with like seconds to go in the first overtime. A seeing eye goal past Vasilevsky, and we can just chalk it up to Morgan Riley, a guy who's been a bit of a pariah this season, having injuries and then not playing to everybody's standard. But, the playoffs can create new legends that surround players. And even though this game left a lot to be desired statistically, when it comes to the Maple Leafs, a lot of players and their individual efforts may have spawned a whole ton of amazing things to come over the next days and weeks ahead. OG's converts, thank you so much for being here. I was thinking if it got into a second overtime, I may have to crash because Mike and I are going to do a Sunday spectacular in a few hours' time. But why the heck not? One, we can get more content, more hits, more views. And, these are the prime moments for us, right? Leading through a crazy season, season after season, disappointment after disappointment. Here we are again. And why not celebrate it with more time spent? So, OG's Converse, thanks for being here. The Convo, of course, always brought to you by Oak Ridge Ford. Brad Tyndall, you're the reason we do this, baby. Show me is what he says. And yeah, the Leafs showed us tonight that you know what, they can hang in there and get big goals in the dying seconds of regulation and then win it in overtime. Pretty phenomenal stuff. And again, really, when you look at it statistically, the Leafs have no business winning this game. Outshot 39-28. 0 for 3 on the power play. They beat the Bolts with the hustle stats, 62 hits, 26 blocks. So you would never see that from the Leafs during the regular season. They'd always be out blocked, always be out hit. So the Leafs were doing the things that they had to do in lieu of not being able to create that offense, because we saw after, I believe it was the Hagel goal late in the first period that tied the game, the momentum really shifted. The second period was all Tampa. The Leafs did not look very good, and you kind of had a feeling that the Leafs were going to lose this one. And even in the third period, Tampa, with all of their prowess and all of their expertise in playoff after playoff, many of them leading to not only success but Stanley Cups, were shutting the Leafs down. And then, just able to get it done 6-on-5. A wonderful play by William Nylander, coming in from the goal line out into play, and then making a pass in front of the net, and of course Ryan O'Reilly with a dirty goal to tie it up. Vasilevsky, of course, wanting that one back. So a lot of great individual efforts that could spawn legend to come, right? Luke Shen was really fantastic in the overtime period. William Nylander had a whole bunch of shots. Austin Matthews throwing his hockey gloves at Steve Stamkos. And I will say, guys, that Steve Stamkos may have made Austin Matthews a man tonight, right? Not that Austin Matthews isn't a man or whatever you want to call him, but in terms of becoming a true full hockey player, his first fight with a guy who also scored 60 goals and kind of just lured into it. Austin Matthews didn't want any part of it, but you know what? Stammer was like, let's go AM 34. Let's do this. He gets it done. The two of them fight, and it's a christening. So I felt proud, not only for Austin Matthews, but for Steve Stamkos to partake in that. Mitch Marner with 6 assists in the playoffs already. Ilya Samsonov, what can you say about this guy? That goal that he gave up late in the first period was bullshit. It wasn't too great, but man, if it wasn't for him standing on his head throughout the second period, third period, and even in overtime where the Leafs were grossly outshot, the Leafs are down 2-1. On the contrary, the result is something that I don't think many of us expected, but a 4-3 win for the Maple Leafs, up 2-1 in the series. So a day off tomorrow, and then a chance to go up 3-1 against the mighty Tampa Bay Lightning and take it back to a place where the Leafs can potentially clinch. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I want to go through some of the comments. OG's conference of 71 people in the chat. You know how amazing this is, that you guys are here with me at just before 11 o'clock this evening. You guys could be getting shit-faced at the bar. You could be out with your girlfriends. You could be partying, doing all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure you will after this. But I'll tell you what, I'm really, really impressed that you're here with us. And it's just a testament to the OGs in conference and how much dedication you have to this product. Colin M., the #1 Leafs fan among our collective. Wicked third line. Yeah, no doubt. It was a team effort, and the thing is, in these kinds of efforts, you need guys to just hold down the fort just to keep it from getting worse, right? The Leafs really didn't have an answer for Tampa in the second period. After that goal late in the first to kind of swing the momentum, and you know what? That kind of stuff does. The Leafs have been good at scoring late, but also bad at giving up goals in dying seconds of periods, and then having that next frame kind of turn on its head against them. And the second period just wasn't what the Leafs had wanted. And I was kind of doing some math. I was thinking to myself that it was a split in the first two games, and then first period, second period, and that Tampa had played 8 periods of the series thus far, whereas the Leafs basically had only played 7, right? 3-3, and then the one, because that second period in game 3 really didn't amount to much, but they held down the fort, which was super impressive. And it's, we'll look back on tonight and go, how the hell did the Maple Leafs win this game? Yeah, need more cowbell. Stole that one. I'll take it. Who wouldn't? If Tampa had stolen that game from the Leafs after being outplayed, they would take it too. That's what playoff hockey is about. And the Leafs demonstrated their ability to play playoff hockey tonight. Things got a little wacky. You saw the usual suspects on Tampa chirping the Leafs bench. Luke Shen was a hero tonight. Isn't that remarkable? In that Luke Shen started his career with the Maple Leafs, got ran out of town, kind of wandered the wilderness for a while, ended up with Tampa, won won a Stanley Cup, and now here, kind of in the twilight of his career, just hanging on a little bit, acquired by the Maple Leafs, standing in between the benches to calm his guys down against guys he used to play with. It really is remarkable. Jason Burns, exactly. I know, Jason, that you're agreeing with everything that I say. Sammy, calling him again. Sammy is doing the stealing instead of Vasi. You know, tonight, Ilya Samsonov was amazing. And look, we don't need to talk about it too much. He's the guy, right? Um, there's no reason to go to Matt Murray other than Samsonov gets destroyed in game 4 and looks bad, and you want to give Tampa a different look. Um, Look, Vasilevsky almost stole this game tonight, Colin, and you know that it was just the Leafs with a 6-on-5, and then Ryan O'Reilly parked in front of Vasilevsky, and you know what? I'm sure a guy like Vasilevsky, who's had so much success, is wondering how the hell did that puck get under his arm. It's pretty crazy. Edwin Logan, I don't recognize the name, but Edward, I'd appreciate that you're here. Good teams steal games, and you know what? The Leafs stole one tonight. The Leafs are a good team. No one's ever argued against them being a good team. It's just being a good team at the right time and continuing to be a good team when the chips are down. And certainly they got it done tonight. It was just like super impressive. We were seconds away from doing a show and lamenting how the Leafs sucked and that only a few guys showed up. Instead, here we are. The Leafs are up 2-1. I mean, it wasn't a thing of beauty, but this is what playoff hockey is all about, right? You saw the Winnipeg Vegas game. Vegas went up 2-0. Winnipeg came back, and then Vegas goes up 4-2. Winnipeg ties it, and then a shitty goal in overtime ends it. And now Las Vegas is up 2-1. That's the playoffs, and it's just so close, right? I mean, the difference is razor thin, and I believe that this series will continue to be that way, right? I picked Leafs in 5 because Mike picked the, Bolts in 7. I had to do the other extreme, but I think being intelligent about it and really playing this out based on what we've seen over the first 3 games, you know what, guys? For as, nail biting a situation as it's going to be, a hair removing situation as it's going to be, a stress inducing situation as it's going to be, I think we're going 7. And man, oh man, I'll tell you what, that seventh game is just going to be insane. Super Strike 9. Ryan O'Reilly is the definition of clutch. That's why they got him, right? The thing about Ryan O'Reilly is he just knows how to play the game in a very quiet way. There's nothing dangerous about him. He understands how to play, and he's always been that kind of player, right? Before Connor McDavid was the big stud with the Erie Otters, Ryan O'Reilly was the guy. Small town Ontario dude, with lots of talent, very quiet, very humble, just the way he is. And the guy goes and wins a Conn Smythe with St. Louis. And geez, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? He could be very well be on his way to another Conn Smythe with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know it's extremely early, but the way he's playing right now, this guy is just absolutely phenomenal. And that's the thing about the Leafs. There are a lot of guys who are still trying to prove their worth. There are guys that you cringe when they get the puck on their stick. Ryan O'Reilly doesn't have to do either. He doesn't have to prove himself. He doesn't have to show you that he's a shit show, or that he's not a shit show rather. He's Ryan O'Reilly. The guy's won a Conn Smythe. He has the cred, and the way he plays this game just throughout. I mean, yeah, an assist, a goal in a game where, uh, in general, the Leafs weren't as good as they possibly could be from an offensive point of view, but they really held down the fort. And guys like Ryan O'Reilly were just there, and it was just phenomenal to see. I mean, Luke Shen, another guy who was acquired, who 20 and a half minutes of ice time, leading, taking pucks out of his zone into the offensive zone during the overtime period, just looking very confident, kind of being that mediator between his old teammates and his new ones when things could have gotten out of hand. Just phenomenal. Jason T, the Leafs weathered the storm, good for the learning process and and experience that shows that you don't have it, you don't have to give up. Of course, Jason T, and that's what the Maple Leafs did tonight, right? We've done shows after the Leafs have dominated games and lost them, right? A blunder, a flub, a mistake, a goaltending error, and we're like, what the hell happened? It was the opposite tonight, but this is playoff hockey, right? Um, you're not out until you're out if you give yourself a chance to still be in it, and that's what the Leafs did, despite really not being super present in the second period. We can kind of look back at on how things went and say, the Leafs really didn't have too much firepower present during the second period, but they were able to hold down the fort and mitigate disaster. And of course, we have to give Ilya Samsonov super credit for that. And again, it's a night like tonight where players could be beginning to write a new chapter for themselves as a professional player. Maybe it's a night like tonight that spawns Ilya Samsonov into a goaltending legend. Who knows? Maybe not. I mean, I could be overblowing it, but it was a really phenomenal effort. 31 saves, and it was many big saves after giving up that late first period goal that kind of took the wind out of the Leaf sails. It was Brandon Hagel at 19:28 of the first that tied the game, and then into the second period, Darren Radish. The guys on the broadcast were talking about how Radish trying to match up against Austin Matthews was a disaster. And clearly he's not at Austin Matthews level. But then he goes and scores that amazing goal. Now, it was in overtime where he basically had the game on his stick, a wide open net, and he missed it. Isn't that crazy how in one circumstance you can be the hero, and in the next, you look like you don't know what you're doing. Welcome to professional sports. Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude. I feel all the fear and trauma of Leafs Nation starting to lift. I wouldn't go that far, Only. And it's good to hear from you. I think Joey Only is an OG, and we appreciate him being here. Spike 11. Ryan O'Reilly has come as advertised. Love the guy. I mean, OGs, converts, anybody in the chat right now, is there anyone who has anything bad to say about Ryan O'Reilly? If you do, speak now or forever hold your peace, right? You know what I'm saying? Jason Burns, the extra additions come through, no doubt. No diggity, no doubt, as Blackstreet once said. Danny Berger, that hit changed the tempo of the game. Which hit are you referring to? Because I mean, there were lots of hits tonight, and the thing about it, it was a very physical game, a very tight checking game. And we wondered if the Leafs could hang with a team like Tampa when push came to shove and things got really tight and claustrophobic and really physical. You know what? The thing is, the Leafs are proving to themselves that they can do this. And the problem over the last several years is, every time the Leafs were trying to come out of their shell and become something, they lost. They didn't have any time left. The clock ran out because once you're out, you're out. Um, so we haven't seen the story fully written. Who knows? Like Austin Matthews got into a fight tonight. He got into a fight tonight. Guys were going at it, right? Guys were going at it, and it was it was nice to see, because it's not that we want them to be knuckle draggers and jerks and assholes and mean people. It's just in the playoffs, when you are on a timer and there's not much life left unless you create more life for yourself. Do whatever you have to do. Do whatever you have to do to get the job done so you can sustain and move on further towards your championship goals. Dale Simpson, go Leafs, go, from Gatineau, Quebec. We love our OGs and converts in La Belle Provence. Jim Bianchini, O'Reilly is clutch. Well, that's an understatement. Terry, 3Gs, Norm. That's, of course, Mike bribed us with tanks, so we're here. I don't know what that means, but all good. And then our friend John Howard, go, Norm, go. I appreciate that, guys. I am the creator of this entire project, and I'm trying to keep it going. So I'm here to do some post game with you guys because, one, you deserve it, and two, hey, these are the playoffs. We've been waiting 82 games to do this. We've done it last year, the year before, and it's getting a really super old. So I thought, you know what, why not do post game and be as close to you cats as possible, so that one, we can spend the time while we have the time, because in 2 weeks, who knows? You know what? I'm going to be golfing or getting my baseball league going or trying to sell more cars, and hockey could be over, or we could be deep into a second round with Boston, and we'll be doing more content, getting more hits, more engagement, and again, as the curator or purveyor of this project, why the hell not? Right? Mike is a bit of a hired gun. He's got all kinds of other things going on. I don't know if you know that about our relationship, but the Leafs Convo is essentially mine. So until the day we pull the plug, we'll just keep on going. And you guys are one of the reasons why we do what we do. Mattman 429, Matthew should have knocked Stamkos out. Well, truth be told, and you saw it for yourself, Matthews didn't want any part of that. Stamkos kind of brought him into it and said, "Let's go, kid. Let's do this." Matthews didn't drop his gloves, and he was kind of, flailing at him and whacking at him like, he, you know, I don't think he's ever been in a fight before, but good on him, right? Showing some kind of fight against Stamkos and these cats, right? They're not going to be bullied. Matthews got into it, and I'm sure he feels invigorated and liberated to an extent. No one's asking Austin Matthews to become, Dave Tiger Williams, but he may have to do it again by any means necessary in this context, in this setting, to show Tampa that They're not taking their bullshit. They're not taking their bullshit. And when Tampa's trying to lure them in, maybe the Leafs will take the bait and stand up for themselves in that moment without blowing things out of proportion. Tonight was one of those nights. Man, oh man, this could have been a completely different convo. This could have been a completely different result. It could have, but it wasn't. The Leafs, a winner, 4-3. Morgan Riley scoring with seconds left in the first overtime frame. So Riley and O'Reilly with two of the biggest goals that the Leafs have scored all season long. Um, it's just phenomenal. Was Justin Holl good tonight? I mean, he had a post in overtime. He laid the body. He was everybody kind of showed up, but they showed up in a quiet way. Brad Tyndall, $2.20. Buy Norm a beer as a thanks for his time. Thank you, Brad. We appreciate it very much. Mr. Chris 2002. Did they have Bunting playing on the third line during the season? Maybe Lafferty. That's interesting. So that's 2 games down for Bunting, another to go. What happens with him in game 5, right? It's amazing how Michael Bunting was, nearly of heroic stature, especially on this platform for all year. And then, he throws a shoulder, gets suspended, and now everybody hates his guts, right? I mean, it's just all part of the process. And I just don't see how his return to the lineup is going to hurt the team. I mean, he's been one of the guys all season long. The question is who comes out. And I haven't brought up Mr. Matthew Nyes, but isn't it phenomenal? A dude who's played what? Less games than I have fingers on one hand. And he was just amazing tonight. Like, didn't look out of place whatsoever. Now, next year he could come out and train his training camp and not show up. I doubt that's the case because of all the hype and how much the Leafs have invested in him and how they feel about him. But the guy got an assist tonight, 19 minutes of ice time, just over a minute on the power play. And he was out there in the dying seconds. Matthew Nice. He's been in the league for less than what, 4 or 5 games? So, you could ask yourself, is Sheldon Keefe concerned about who he has? And it's you got to throw a complete rookie. I mean, he'll be a rookie next year. A complete rookie who's just running on adrenaline out into the mix, or is it this guy is that damn good? And if he's that damn good, wow, the Leafs the Leafs have something phenomenal. I think we all kind of knew that, but to be in this moment and doing the things that he's doing, he just looks like he he has so much determination just to do. And it's not so much, look at me, guys, I can play this game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? The chickens will come home to roost on him. It'll catch up to him. And, he's going to go through some kind of a slump at some point and realize, holy shit, this game's harder than it seemed to be. Catching teams like Tampa tired and late, and they haven't seen him before. But I really do think it's just Matthew Nyes is that going to be that good a player, right? Just tough, bravado, play, get in your face. Again, nobody's asking him to throw punches, but wow. Very nice, as Omax says, for sure. Jason T. Kerfoot is good in the playoffs. Quiet, right? As you're wondering about him. David James, ROR, the factor. We're at 89 views. Can we get to 100? I know we'll get to a couple thousand views for this post game over the next 24 hours and such, which will be great. If you're here with us right now, remember Mike and I will be doing a show sometime on Sunday. So that's the 23rd of April, the day off between game 3 and game 4. Mike probably writing something for hockeybuzz.com or doing his Twitter spaces. We will have our Sunday spectacular. So the key here is to come back for that too, because we just want to create a ton of content. And there are a bazillion Leafs podcasts right now. Everybody's chomping at the bit to say what they want to say. And, it's just the interaction is frenetic. So we appreciate that you guys are branching out, supporting everyone else, but still coming back to us because it's not about us versus them. We're one big collective, and I do what I do. I say what I say. I don't come at it from a deeply analytical point of view. I'm just a 46-year-old guy who's been following the Leafs for a very long time, a broadcaster for 20 years, who has a sense for the game and who knows how to connect with people. So I really do appreciate you being here. I wanted to get to some more comments. Joe Shedler, an OG 100% nice, limited sample, but he's looked pretty good, I have to say. Yeah, 100% he has looked good. And it's not that he's just looked good. 3 hits, a shot on goal tonight. He had a takeaway. He just in his eyes, there's a passion to play. And can you imagine, like, this dude is like, at a kegger on campus 3 months ago, and now he is playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs for a team that is legendary in and of itself, but is mired in a really embarrassing and legendary streak of futility when it comes to playoff success against the team that has won 2 Stanley Cups over the last few years. So what the heck? And he just goes to work. There's no, oh, like I'm enamored and taken aback by my environment. No, it's just go to work. And that workmanlike qualities, um, it's just it's super impressive. Jason Burns, no need for Simmons. The thing with Simmons, he's on standby. And what would concern me is if Simmons came in. I mean, we are revealing that there's a hint of desperation in what's taking place. Now, Simmons is always there. What does Mike call them? The Black Aces? I don't know what that means, but okay, like he's there. But Wayne Simmons's best days in the NHL have come and gone. So that's that. This is the convo for Oak Ridge Ford. I'm Norm. Mike is not here. He's doing Twitter Spaces, and he'll be here with us tomorrow for the Sunday Spectacular. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. I certainly appreciate your presence with us tonight. We're 100 people in. It's just remarkable. Greg Knight, listen, McCabe missed the hit. How is that Nye's fault? I don't know what is going on with that, but I'm just trying to get through some of the comments here because, again, if you are going to spend the time, I'm going to give you the platform. Wilford Witzke, Hall best pylon shot blocker. That's another thing too tonight. Guys were getting down and blocking shots. I know Luke Shen was crazy in the dying moments. So let's talk a little bit about Luke Shen. Like, you guys know his story. I mean, he was a huge Maple Leafs pick who was brought into the organization at a really crappy time. The team was picks and picks and picks and reconfiguration and a rethinking away from doing anything. And here's a guy who was asked to do a lot when he wasn't capable of that much, and then got traded and then kind of bandied about. And isn't it crazy how professional sports can work? This guy gets acquired like he was a like no, but everyone thought, well, McCabe and these guys were acquired. Gustafson, the Leafs really didn't need any more defensive help, than Luke Shen gets picked up. And he's been phenomenal. Luke Shen, right? I mean, not only playing the mediator between his former team and his current team to try to get them to all calm down so that things didn't get completely out of hand. I mean, blocking shots, rushing pucks out of his zone in overtime. It's mind-boggling, and it was it brought back memories for me, and it made me a little melancholy in that, I felt so bad for him in his first go round. And then, of course, it was just so Leafy that a guy who couldn't succeed uh, at all with the Maple Leafs goes on and wins cups with someone else. I mean, what you can Nazem Kadri, Tyler Bozak. I'm sure I'm missing many, and now he's back with the Maple Leafs. Like, you can say it's all come full circle. The good thing for him is Luke Shen has won cups, so he's got his cups. Come on back to Toronto. What is he going to be, sitting next to Jason Spezza up in the press box next season too? Like, that could be a possibility. Silent polls. Love that Morgan scored the winner after the shenanigans. Love it. You saw Morgan Riley with the bloody nose and the tissue in his nostril, and like those images are indelible, and they last, and they have impact. Guys bleeding, scoring, seeing eye goals with seconds to go, that embarrass legendary playoff goaltenders, and help a team that you could argue had no business win and take a 2-1 series lead. So here's what I have to ask, OGs and Converse. Can the Leafs build off this? Right? I mean, they didn't seem to have much business winning this game, but pulled it out late in regulation, then pulled it out with what, 45 seconds to go in overtime. So now it's on to game 4. Can they come out crazy and get a 4-5 nothing lead, and then have Tampa, try to lure them back into the alley for fighting, and penalty have a penalty filled affair, but kind of hold their ground and win game 3? Can they do it? That's a huge question. I'm gonna get to a couple of more comments, and then I'm gonna peace out for the night, and then Mike and I will resume in the morning. If you guys have any other questions for me, any other comments that are not connected to a conversation you guys are having. Let's see. Holly family, Shen has been great. So is McCabe and Gio and Brody. That's good. That everybody's been great in their own way, especially in a game where the way it all played out, no one really thought anybody was great. But, now that the Leafs have won, you can look back and go, I guess these guys really were great, because it could have gotten completely out of hand. Central to it all is Ilya Samsonov. It was, yeah, pretty remarkable. The first period, neither goaltender looked too good. Um, Giving up, 3 of the 4 goals in the first period, weren't they were nice goals from those who scored them, but if you're running a goaltender clinic, you would lambaste the Kucherov, and you would lambaste the guys who were Vasilevsky and Samsonov, for maybe not being positionally sound, or giving up weak ones in a time where you really kind of got to be steady. But then both goaltenders really kind of figured it out, especially Samsonov in that second period. A 2-2 game really could have been, instead of 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2. And it's amazing, though, even while you're down, you got to still kind of hold it together, because especially in the playoffs, there's an opportunity to come back and take it away from the team that nearly has it, right? This game slipped through Tampa's fingers. So the question is, can the Leafs um, build on it? The other question is, how long is it going to take for Tampa just to kind of brush this one off and say, "Hey, we've been down this road before." And while we're still a group, while we're still together, and trying to prolong our dynastic run, this is just another game that we have to deal with. We had it, we lost it. Let's just come back out guns a-blazing. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in game 4. OG's Converse, let me know, not only in the chat, but through below this post, when you're listening to it after the fact. Like the content, and make sure to come back to see Mike and I in a few hours' time for the Sunday Spectacular. Josh Lamers, Leafs in 5. Josh, I'm still waiting on an email from you, buddy. So let's have at it. Daryl LeBlanc, the Leafs will have it together next game, right? And the optimism's awesome. You got to be optimistic. In this game, you still had to be optimistic. The optimism was right there. It was one shot away, one goal away, one play away, and we went from being pessimistic and negative to optimistic after Ryan O'Reilly scored that goal. Beautiful pass from William Nylander, set up by Mitch Marner, who has already a ton of points in this series. So, the thing is, guys are doing what they have to do, but Tampa played a great playoff game tonight. It was a very structured, disciplined, militant playoff game that was overseen by a great head coach, backstopped by a fantastic playoff goaltender who has the pedigree and the rings, and they nearly won it, but didn't. And the team that we've all been second guessing and wondering about somehow pulled it out. That is a big damn deal. Donald J. Trump is back in the mix. He's about to start campaigning. Donald J., thank you very much for being here. I hate the O'Reilly Kerfoot Achari line. Okay, well, OG's Converse, you guys agree with that? Dale Simpson, Tampa will be crying tomorrow about that goal that didn't count. Poor babies. You know, it's the thing about the playoffs, man. The calls that weren't made, the calls that were made, the goals that counted, the goals that didn't count. That's the thing about the playoffs. Everything is highlighted and completely forced under a microscope. Every little thing is a damn big deal. Every little thing is a damn big deal. And for me, I don't know if this goes back to my baseball playing days of just the way I'm wired. I I didn't want I think I never really cried too much about how things were officiated. Sure, I had some pitches that were I thought were strikes. I was struck out on pitches I knew were balls. I've been called out when I knew I was safe. But you got to keep moving on. And the thing is, nothing's going to be reversed. We can cry and whine about it. And that's what a lot of fan bases do. But this is the thing. It's just an excuse. Oh, the Leafs could have won, had this, that, this, and this, and Wes McCauley not been. What is that going to do for you, right? How does that work in your mind? Tell yourself that the Leafs are Stanley Cup champions. If this official is not involved, you you need to put yourself in a position where these decisions that may be wrong most of the time are right, but potentially could be game changing, don't really affect you because you've already given yourself that advantage by being better than your opposition. But if it's just like a tie game or a one goal game and you are relying on an official to potentially make a decision that could affect your future in the playoffs and potentially end it, then those are the breaks, man. If you can't beat your team by 2 or 3 goals and finish them off, and it's just gonna be down to the wire, and you're gonna leave the human element to potentially decide how things turn out, so be it. That's the playoffs, man, and I'll tell you, if the calls are beneficial to you, you are not complaining. So, I look at it from a more matter-of-fact standpoint. I get it, though. I get it. People are upset, but what are you gonna do? Go petition the league and have things changed? Have a game, uh protested and have the results reversed? No, it's not gonna happen. Anybody have anything else to say? Because I'm about to shut this thing down. And again, I'm really appreciative. '09 Max Wes McCauley should not ref any future Leaf games. So you should call Gary Bettman. Max, give him a call on text him. He's probably up tonight. Why don't you Instagram him and just say, look, I just don't think McCauley should be a part of anything that has to do with Maple Leafs, and I'm sure they'll make the adjustments. Jay Gregor, Norm should play instead of Bunting. Sure, like what? Play a hockey video game? That's as good as it's gonna get for me. Let's see who else do we have here. Al M. Let's enjoy fellow Leafs fans. Thanks, Norm. Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like tonight we were this close to being here together, all 78 of us in the chat. We had over 100 not too long ago, going on about how the officiating sucked and how nobody was playing with any excitement or passion. Instead the Leafs are up 2-1 in the series, and they didn't have their best game. I mean, they were basically non-existent for one whole period, and the third period wasn't much better. But when in the dying seconds with an extra man, the best players were on the ice, they got it done, right? They got it done. The guy they brought in to help out, one of the best pure offensive players in the game, and Nylander, and the maestro, Mitch Marner, getting this game tied up. And then, uh, you know, a goal that nobody's counting on, but you know that every damn shot in the playoffs, especially when the clock is ticking, means something. Every little thing that Justin Hole shot that hit the seeing eye shot that hit the bar, earlier in the overtime frame, that could have been a winner, and we could have been talking about how Justin Hole's all of a sudden some god in Leafs Nation when most of us have hated on him the entire season. That's the thing about the playoffs, man. It writes new chapters for a lot of players who we've already closed the book on. It's remarkable. Are you guys going to let me go or what? I've got Alpha Sonya here. Did anybody else see Bettman convulsing in his box once he got word of the eventual outcome? Are you trying to say he didn't want the Leafs to win? I don't know about that. Big Shay RC, one game at a time, focus on Monday, and let's do this. That is a good way to conclude this post game. Yeah, focus on one game at a time for sure, because every game is a battle in and of itself. And then the series is a battle, a collective battle. And if the Leafs can somehow get through this, they've exercised a lot of demons, put Tampa on notice that the dynasty may be about dead, and then set themselves up to reconfigure a new plan with new vim and vigor and new energy and new momentum and a new purpose against Boston or Florida. Um, and as of tonight, the 22nd of April, 2023, the Leafs are leading a series against a team that we all know they can beat, but won't fully be satisfied with the team and the results until the Leafs finally get this first round series win out of the way. And it's been a long time coming. So again, enjoy this evening, enjoy tomorrow, enjoy the playoffs, because when you're watching other Stanley Cup playoff games that don't involve the Maple Leafs, while the Leafs are still in contention and in a good position, it's fun watching things happen. You can really immerse yourself in the playoff environment and the trials and tribulations and the drama and the anguish without having any skin in that particular game, but knowing that your time is coming soon too. You know what I'm talking about, guys. You certainly do. It's great to watch this game when you're not necessarily affiliated, but you still want to have some sort of affiliation, and we do. And I'm hoping that that affiliation will not only um, you know, continue through the next couple of days into the next couple of weeks, but go on for a few months. I mean, it's high time. Mr. Chris 2002. Thanks for the after party, Norm. Thank you for being here, my friend. Greg Knight. Edmonton can't score 5-on-5. Edmonton's got problems too. I thought it would be Edmonton and Boston in the Stanley Cup final, and that was through Brad Tyndall's uh, NHL tournament that he had going on, the bracket challenge. But deep down inside, I'm feeling like the Maple Leafs are going to get this done. Edward Logan, Leafs in 5 and Bunting scores the winner. Thanks, Norm. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? I still don't understand, guys, how we love Michael Bunting so long, this year, last year, and everything that he's done. He gets suspended for maybe being a bit reckless in a time where nobody else was doing anything, and now everybody wants him castigated and sent off to Robidaw Island or even worse. You know what? They'll welcome him back. The question is, how are they going to, and who are they going to remove from the lineup? I'm telling you, Matthew Nyes can't come out. What we saw tonight was pretty fantastic in a game where most of the team wasn't too great, except when it counted. Okay, that's about it for me. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. I'd like to see us get to more subscribers, maybe 4,000 subs here over the next few months. And it's not Mike or I who can do it. It's you guys who can with your endorsements and word of mouth. So, yeah, enjoy the evening. Your Toronto Maple Leafs are up 2-1 in the series. Calling it. Good night, Norm. Bunting will be in versus Boston. Yeah, I'll take it. If the Leafs can get past Tampa, line them up and let's go. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in a few hours. I am out.